welcome to my channel. So today's video is all about the tasting of the failed rice beer experiment that we started about a week ago. So we ran into some problems along the way. One of them was the fact that I didn't add yeast nutrient to it. So if you're going to try this, add yeast nutrient. Yay!
Right, so enough of playing with decayed radioactive matter and inhaling it. It is, it's great, but it makes your head go light. So like I was saying, I ended up having to add a teaspoon of yeast nutrient, and that's because after about a day, the yeast has stopped because it ran out of nutrients after I eliminated all the other things it could possibly be. So if you're trying this for yourself, add yeast nutrient, or buy really expensive mineral water. So, you know, I happen to have really good water where I live, very tasty. If your water's rubbish, don't use it. So, another one of the factors that I will be changing for future experimentation is the actual amylase. This is winemaker's amylase that I used in my first video. Now, while it did work, it was a bit of a touch and go thing. This amylase doesn't have to be fantastic. In fact, it has one job. It's not to convert starches into sugars, it's to remove the slight haze you get in wines. So not really the best I used. It did work. It must have converted pretty much all of the starches into sugars, because the end hydrometer reading was 1.010. So that is, yeah, it fermented down pretty much to where I thought it was going to be. I used a beer calculator, which I just typed into Google. I think it was Brewer's Friend or something like that, and it said that it would stop about 1.075. It stopped at 1.010, so it was pretty close. Obviously, if I changed the amylase for a high temperature one that's specifically designed for doing the job that I used the winemaker's one for, probably would have went down to about what it said it would. Oh, pardon me. So I went on Amazon after a lot of searching and ended up finding it, because you type in high temperature amylase and yeah, it's Britain. It's really difficult to find anything that you really want. So I ended up finding it on Amazon. I ended up getting 11 sachets, and one 4-gram sachet of this specifically designed amylase is enough to do 5 gallons. Where, as you saw in my first video, I used about 4 grams to do 1 gallon's worth, so it works out more cost effective. It is more expensive, funny that, but again, you need 0.75 of a gram of this amylase to convert the starches in 1 gallon of liquid, so it does work out, long term it works out cheaper, so it's going to be good for experimentation. So if you want to play around with a amylase that's specifically designed for doing what it's supposed to be doing, I will put the link in the description below so you can go to Amazon and check it out for yourself. So yeah, it was a bit of fun, and it did work. So let's get to the tasting. So I've went ahead and I've taken out, funny enough, a nice little portion into my glass. It was a bit higher, but I keep making mistakes, so oh well. So I can tell you that it isn't bad. My technique was sloppy, I made mistakes, I threw a lot of the starches away, but you end up with something that is not perfectly clear. You could use finings, because they are particles, it's not the colour, it is just particles that are still in here. So filtering or using finings or chilling it, all these different methods would probably remove a lot of the slight cloudiness that you get to it. But it is only aesthetics, so it's not really that important. And it's actually not that bad to drink. It has kind of like a milk rice in the background taste. I mean, it's nothing, slightly floral, which is odd considering it was just white rice, but at the same time it isn't unpleasant, which means that the experiment was a success. Even though I messed up quite a lot, the basic principle works. So I'm going to expand on this, because rice is really cheap, everyone pretty much has access to it, so why not see if we can't make a rice beer using nothing but random stuff, like rice, just cheap rice. I will be doing it again using the high temperature amylase, obviously, and instead of using the side yeast, I will be using ale yeast. It just happened to be in the post, so it hadn't turned up. So, figure, right? So, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with this. It's not really good enough to bottle, but at the same time, it's not that bad, so don't know. It's a good thing to keep on standby, and it's a good thing to experiment with. It didn't really cost anything apart from some time, and yeah, it's not bad. Unfortunately, it does clear, so it would have been really good if it did look milky all the way through. I think that would be awesome, alcoholic milk, going Mongol style. But at the same time, it happens, we can play with it. So we're going to do some toasting and all sorts. Anyway, we'll get into it more in the next rice beer video. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Found it entertaining, slightly educational, and of course, opens your mind to different things. So don't forget to rate, comment, like, subscribe, and of course share, because this random stuff, you helped me make it. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you in another video. Take care. Cheers.